She was shaking when she said it. The wine glass trembled in her hand, her eyes glossy but determined. "I can't marry you," she whispered. "I'm in love with my ex." It wasn't the words that hurt, it was the timing. 2 weeks before the wedding, guests invited, rings purchased, a future planned down to the color of the curtains. I watched her mouth form apologies that sounded rehearsed, the kind you practice in the mirror so they land softly. I didn't speak, didn't move, my heart didn't even race, it just slowed. "Say something," she pleaded, but I had nothing to say. In that silence, something inside me shut off, like a switch flipped somewhere deep where love used to live. When she left that night, she thought she'd won her freedom. She didn't realize she'd just handed me mine. For days I walked through the half-packed apartment, her perfume still clinging to the air. There were lists on the fridge, wedding vendors, song options, seating charts, all reminders of a future that no longer existed. She'd chosen him, a man she'd once called toxic, manipulative, a mistake she'd never repeat. People rarely tell the truth about who they love. They just circle back to their pain, mistaking familiarity for destiny. I didn't blame her, not then. I told her I'd handle everything, the calls, the refunds, the arrangements. She sounded relieved, too relieved. "I'm sorry," she said over the phone, "you're being so calm about this." Calm, if she only knew. Calm isn't peace. It's focus sharpened by betrayal. I started thinking, not about her, but about what she'd cost me. The house, the plans, the time I couldn't reclaim. Every promise I'd built had become collateral for her confusion, and I don't forgive debts easily. I began with small steps, a quiet reshaping of the story. I called the venue, canceled the deposit, told them the groom had cold feet. Her mother called me later, furious. How could you do this to her? I listened, let her speak, then simply replied, "Ask your daughter." The silence that followed was music. Next, I contacted the realtor. The house we'd bought together, technically under my name, was listed by morning. Within 48 hours, it was sold. She texted, "What are you doing?" I didn't reply. Each day I erased another piece of us. Photos from my phone, her clothes folded into boxes, her emails filtered into trash. There's a strange clarity in destruction when it's methodical. I moved money too, slowly, quietly. By the time she called to discuss logistics, the joint account balance read $49.03. She called again, this time voice trembling. "Where's the rest of it?" I almost laughed. Consider it payment for my silence. Then I hung up. She thought I'd collapse, beg for closure, chase answers. But I'd already learned. Answers are worthless once you've seen the truth. Some people love only until something easier comes along. A week later she came to see me. Same apartment, same perfume, different woman. Her makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion. He hadn't chosen her after all. "Please," she said, "can we talk?" I let her in, not because I wanted to hear her excuses, but because I wanted her to see what was left. Bare walls, empty shelves, no trace of the life she'd abandoned. Her eyes darted around, confused. "You sold everything?" "Yes." "Why?" I looked at her for a long moment. "Because you can't burn a house halfway. Either you put out the fire, or you watch it all turn to ash." She swallowed hard, tears pressing at the edges of her voice. "He left me," she whispered. "He always would." The way she broke then, it wasn't dramatic, just quiet, a soft implosion of regret. I didn't comfort her, I just poured a drink and watched the collapse. She asked if I hated her. "No," I said, "hate takes effort." I handed her an envelope, our old wedding invitations. Each one shredded, methodically. "I thought you'd want to see what your future looks like now." She opened her mouth, but no sound came. I stood, walked to the door, and held it open. "Take care of yourself," I said. "You'll need it." Her hands trembled as she left. No closure, no forgiveness, just absence. That night I sat on the floor of my new apartment. No furniture, no noise. Freedom doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like stillness after a storm. I checked my account one last time. The transfers were complete. The house was gone, the wedding was gone, she was gone, and yet I'd never felt more whole. People think revenge is fire. It isn't. It's ice. Cold, slow, precise. 2 weeks before the wedding, she said she loved someone else. 2 weeks later, she had no one. And me? I finally had what she never could: control.